they're not singing, dancing, or rapping or dribbling a basketball. But these are Black people that make the world go round. These are the ones who are doing amazing things that can inspire you to make some adjustments in your life. Now, today I have the honor of speaking with Miss Santisha Walker. She is a registered nurse, and she is also the CEO. I want to say, make sure I say it right. Santisha, so correct me if I'm wrong. The Walker Group Health and Wellness. Walker
Yes.
Health and Wellness.
Yes, Walker Group Health and Wellness.
Yes, Walker Group Health and Wellness. Okay, and one of your brands is the Nurse Brandista. So first of all, I want to ask, how you doing today, sister?
I'm doing great. I'm doing well. Thank you so much, Dr. Boyce, for having me. I appreciate it, and I love what you do for our community. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Vice versa. You know, I was recommended by Derek, who is your husband, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I assume so, but I didn't remember. But Derek, I met Derek, and I respect him a lot. You know, he was in our 48-hour business school, and he's just such a smart brother, and just the kind of man that I think everybody should want their son to grow up into. And when he told me about you and what you were doing, I was really fascinated. Now, let's start with some background so people can kind of know. Now, you are in the healthcare field. Is that correct?
I am. I'm a registered nurse, and I currently own Walker Group Health and Wellness, which educates on the health and wellness topics for organizations and companies. So that keeps me attached to the healthcare community, healthcare system.
Okay, and tell us just out of background, just out of my curiosity. So where are you from, and where'd you grow up?
Okay, from Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. So I'm a Southern girl. I don't know if y'all can hear it in my accent, but I am from the South. And I went to UNC Greensboro, out of Greensboro, North Carolina, which is about an hour or so from Raleigh, and actually obtained a business degree from the Bryan School of Business. And from there, I worked in insurance for about 5 years. And while working in insurance, I decided I wanted a little bit more of a profound impact on the lives of individuals. I was more behind the desk, pushing paper. So I decided to pursue nursing. I had a conversation with a couple of young ladies who were great friends of mine on campus during our undergrad years. They were in the nursing school. And then it's weird because then it actually sparked with me that I was interested in nursing. But being that I was a year from graduating, I pursued my business degree. I'm like, I don't want to start over. I know if I get a business degree, I can always find work. I can always do something. And so, but after working insurance for about 5 years or so, I just knew I needed something different. So I went to nursing school, graduated from a community college, from Wake Technical Community College in Raleigh, North Carolina. They have an amazing program. And from there, worked in the hospital on a cardiac unit, and left the hospital because I wanted a different type of feel with my patients. The unit I worked on was crazy busy. Cardiac is no joke. So I left there and went into neurology. And so that was more of a private neurology practice. And from there, my husband, Derek, seeded the idea of business ownership as a nurse. And so at first, I pushed back on it. I'm like, I'm good. I got my 9 to 5. I'm making my salary. I'm good. I don't need to do anything additional. And I was obtaining my master's in nursing at the time. And so from there, he seeded the idea, and I thought on it. I connected with others who were health and wellness professionals, and Walker Group Health and Wellness was born. I make that sound very simple, like it was just born, but we worked on it. We got our LLC and set everything up and went from there.
Well, I think that's really interesting. You were in a 9 to 5, and last time I checked, nurses are not exactly low paid individuals. The nursing salaries are pretty good from what I understand. So and the demand is very high from what I understand as well. So what would make a person who, because a lot of people think, a lot of people only become entrepreneurs if they feel that they can't get the job they want, or there aren't enough opportunities or whatever. But you were doing good. You were comfortable. You liked your job. You love, everything about what you do. What makes a person say, I got this comfortable job. I'm really happy, but I think I want to jump ship and go and become an entrepreneur?
For me, it was wanting more. I consider my life like a blossoming flower. I'm always blooming. I'm always trying to learn and do more. And so even though I was a nurse, I absolutely adore my profession, I still felt as if I was confined to the just the parameters for nurses. We are always operating under what's called a scope of practice. But I wanted to actually affect the full holistic life of my patients. A lot of times in doctor's offices, any really clinical setting, you are following the orders of that doctor. And so I wanted to educate. I wanted to know, like, how's your sleep hygiene? You know, what lemon water, right? I wanted to educate on what that does. I wanted to bring up different topics outside of the typical medication, have surgery, take this, you know, do that. I wanted to educate more. And so a lot of times in that 9-to-5 setting, and I will say that nurses are educators. Let me backtrack. One of the things that nurses do is we educate and we advocate. So we're always giving out information. I wanted to do it my way, and I wanted to do it in my timing. And I knew that starting Walker Group Health and Wellness and partnering with other health and wellness professionals would give me that opportunity to go into the community and to structure it how I wanted to structure that education. So again, love being a nurse. I adore my profession. I just wanted to do things. I wanted to put my own fingerprint and spin on being a nurse. And it was funny, when I launched into nursing entrepreneurship, I had never met another nurse entrepreneur. I had no idea that the term nurse entrepreneurship was even out there. I just knew I was a nurse who wanted to start a business, and then I opened that door, and before I knew it, there were thousands of other nurses doing the same thing I was doing. So I knew I was on the right track. Wow.
So everybody who's watching, I want you guys to know I'm speaking to Miss Santisha Walker. Santisha Walker is the founder and CEO, co-founder and CEO of Walker Group Health and Wellness. She works closely with her husband, Derek, who's also just a brilliant Black person. And her brand is called Nurse Brandista, and she talks about nurses and people in the healthcare profession who are becoming entrepreneurs. He helps them do that, and actually, I'd like to know more about that. And before we move on, I want everybody to take 1 second, if you can. Please show your love. Remember, we're trying to build Black media. Our goal is to help Black people tell our own stories as far and wide as possible. So if you can, take 1 second. I want you to do this. Hit the like button, the share button, the subscribe button, the thumbs up button. Give lots of hearts. Make sure you share this to your social media, and definitely subscribe. You must subscribe, please, to this, because the more subscribers we have, the further we can go. Our YouTube channel just hit 80 million views, 80 million, 80. And I think that's pretty good, you know, given that we did this independently and we did it in a Black way. So Santisha, let me ask you this. So Nurse Brandista, I was really intrigued by this concept of the entrepreneur nurse. I mean, I know that healthcare is a great field. I know nurses do very well, and I know there's plenty of opportunity. So what would make me as a nurse, if I was a nurse, you know, say, okay, I think I want to try this entrepreneurial thing. You know, what are the benefits of making such a transition?
You can be creative. Nurses are innately creative, innovative. Nursing school teaches us how to do that. But you can do your own thing. You can bring your own personality to the nursing profession. A lot of nurses, they may start their own healthcare agency, their home health agency. Some are actually developing technological devices for the actual nursing profession. Some are legal nurse consultants. So there's so many different things. A lot of times nurses, what we do is we complain and you know, we have our issues with the healthcare system. But if we really think about what those problems are, what we're doing is we're solving those problems. And so we basically just take our nursing knowledge, our nursing skills, our experience, and we're launching a product or service that's going to enhance the nursing profession, whether it be the patients or whether it be the healthcare system itself. And so if you're a nurse and you feel as if, you know, some nurses actually feel stuck. That's why they launch into it. And some want to stay in bedside or clinical, and they just want to do like a side hustle or something on the side. So if you're a nurse and you're feeling as if you want more, there's something missing, I have an idea, we're out here. Nurse entrepreneurs are doing a dang thing. We're out here, we're doing it big, and we are, promoting ourselves as experts in the healthcare field, and we're branding ourselves. And Derek, my husband, had to remind me of this. Nursing is a profession in itself. A lot of times people see nurses and they think, oh, they're just the physician's assistant. There actually is a profession where you can go and become a PA, physician's assistant. But we do more than just give meds. We do more. Yes, we bathe our patients. Yes, we change their diapers in bedside settings. Yes, we hold their hands. We give them meds. We cry with them. But we also are educators. We also are there to be their liaison and their voice to the interdisciplinary team. And a lot of times nurses are leading that team. So, again, nurses are innovative. So if there are ideas and things that we come up with, we're out here, we're running with it, and we're taking charge of our profession. And I absolutely love it. I love that I'm a part of that momentum.
Wow. Well, what's really interesting to me is, I know that there's a lot of money being made in the healthcare field, right? We know that. I mean,
yeah.
My God, every time it seems like I go to the doctor, every time I just do anything, they're like, here's another bill, and you see how much money's being made, and you also have, the big pharmaceutical companies and the big hospitals and everybody, they're making their money too. And so I've always felt, if you're looking for a profession, that, healthcare just seems like a solid way to go. What is interesting to me is I'm wondering, again, without being an expert in the healthcare field, I'm wondering, in terms of that flexibility piece, there's now a lot, given that there's a lot of awareness now of things that maybe the big pharmaceutical companies don't want you to really know about, which is, that maybe you don't have to take 20 different pills every day. Maybe there are other things, maybe the pill should be the last resort instead of the first resort, right? So these holistic angles. Do you find that a lot of the nurses are kind of using entrepreneurship as a way to kind of do that sort of, to do the things that they wish they could do if they, on their job, but now that they're sort of independent, they can say, well, instead of taking a pill, you can do this, whatever the case may be. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Most definitely. You hit the nail on the head. I'm actually a part of an association, National Nurses and Business Association, and a lot of the nurses there are consultants. That's exactly what we do. We educate on preventive care. We educate on health and wellness, which is what Walker Group Health and Wellness is all about. That's exactly why I stepped out and became an entrepreneur, because I could actually educate on the holistic approach. I would never tell anyone not to take their medicine. I would never say that, because there's certain medications, if you're currently on, that you have to wean off of, right? So that's just irresponsible. What I will say is, educate yourself about that medication. Find out the class of medication. A lot of nurses are offering coaching and consultation just for that. And then once you find that out, talk with your doctor, partner with him, and find ways that you can come off of that medication. And use food. This is the holistic part. I'm also a wellness coach. Use food as medicine, right? So find out, hey, I was actually taking let's just say Detox, which is still, it may not be prescribed, it's over the counter for your bowel movements, right? Nurses, we're all about like bowel movements, so I hope this is not too forward. But instead of taking a Detox, eat kale, right? Eat spinach. Find food that can substitute. Now, the pharmaceutical companies, they're not going to tell you that. Your doctor, depending on what kind of doctor you have, he may not suggest holistic. But a lot of nurses, we understand anatomy and physiology. We understand how the body works. Not only that, we've built a relationship with our patients. We know a lot of our patients' financial situation. We're like, they're on a fixed income. They can't really afford that medication. So we'll educate them on other ways to heal their body, but it may be a non-traditional way. So to answer your question, yes, nurses are stepping outside of that confined box to offer education and other services that can pair with their care plan with their doctor. So yeah, we're out here just basically as another resource for the general public and community to use as much as possible in their healthcare. And I always, and here's the thing, like one of the things that I educate others on as well is the role of nurses. I don't think, actually my sister-in-law the other day, we were talking about what nurses do. She had just had a baby and she's like, well, I don't know. And I called the office. Am I supposed to speak to the doctor, the nurse practitioner, the nurse? The nurses more than likely should be your first point of contact. We are there to hear what you have to say, to be that middle person and to be your voice for the doctor. And honestly, the patients should be in leading that interdisciplinary team. We're not there to tell you what to do. The patient is there to say, hey, I'm having these symptoms. I always advocate for patients to do your research, bring as much as you can to the table, and everybody make an educated decision versus you just saying, well, he has a white coat and told me to take this. Okay, I'll take it. You should be questioning everything. Your nurse should be asking if you have additional questions. We should be there to quarterback that care. And so a lot of nurses are staying in that role in bedside, but we're also launching a company to help with that as well.
Well, I like that a lot. And everybody, if you want to know, her brand, Santisha's brand is Nurse Brandista. Some of you are asking about that, and I want to make sure you guys know Nurse Brandista. Now, Nurse Brandista, is that like what kind of service does Nurse Brandista provide, and how are people able to go and pursue that service?
Yeah, so they can find more about that at my website, santishawalker.com, SANTISHA Walker.com. That's where they'll find out more about my journey. I'm very transparent, as well as my coaching services, and I have a signature Ready, Set, Go program, which nurses, they're set up just for you. A lot of nurses want to launch into entrepreneurship. A lot of nurses want to brand themselves, but they don't know how and where to start. And a lot of nurses are intimidated by the business arena. So what I do is I walk you through the Ready, Set, Go phase of that program. And so you can find out more about my books. I'm an author, ×2. And there's a book that's entitled Stethoscope in a Dream, where I've partnered with 15 other amazing, bad to the bone Black nurses who are doing the dang thing. We partnered together and we wrote an anthology that compares, our stories, and we're sharing different things we've gone through as we have become nurses and after our nursing experiences. And then I have an ebook called Your 30-Day Guide to Balance Living as You Build Your Nursing Brand. And that offers tools, resources, and tips that I actually used as I was launching my brand. So there is basically a website chock full of information on how I can help nurses. If you go to the shop tab, that's where you'll see my books. I have my t-shirts, Stethoscope in a Dream. Just so many different things that I have that are there to inspire nurses to just keep dreaming. Because honestly, and I'm a little biased, we're brilliant. We're brilliant. We're creative. We know more than the general public, I think, give us credit for. And we're pushing this thing forward. So we're out here.
A stethoscope in a dream. I love it. I was looking, now when I looked at your website, I noticed the first image here, as well as the subsequent images. There's nothing about the images that say nurse, right? I mean, obviously you got the credentials, right? I mean, that's there. Right. But I mean, it's interesting. Was that a deliberate decision in your brand building process to say, I want to get away from this idea that a nurse has to look a certain way, that she can still be, as you mentioned, I think earlier before you mentioned, you used the term fashionista.
Yes.
Is that kind of the swag that you were going for, to kind of say, look, I'm a human being, I'm a Black woman, I'm doing these amazing dynamic things. I also happen to be a nurse and very good at it. What were your thoughts when you kind of chose the imagery for the website?
That is it. I wanted to show my credentials. I wanted to show RN, MSc, and CWC, so I am credentialed. I wanted to show my experience, but I definitely wanted them to see that we are not just confined to that bedside, the bedside and clinical setting, and we can do whatever we want. Every industry, and that just sounds like amazing, right? I'm hyped about it. But every industry needs a nurse. My husband's an engineer by trade, and they have nurses on their campus, right? Governments have nurses, military have nurses, corporations contract in nurses for health and wellness education. So yes, I did that on purpose, but I also wanted to put out there that, nursing is what I do, but I also have my own business. So yeah, that was deliberate for me to take that approach.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm really curious, Santisha. And by the way, everybody who's watching, this is Miss Santisha Walker. She's the co-founder and CEO of Walker Group Health and Wellness. She also is the founder of the brand Nurse Brandista. And she helps nurses and healthcare professionals to brand themselves and do business as entrepreneurs. Make sure you hit the like button, share button, subscribe button, thumbs up button. Hit all those buttons right now real quick. Definitely make sure you subscribe. Also, if you want a free copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, you can go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. Also, if you happen to be watching early enough, don't forget the All Black National Convention is coming up in Philadelphia, September 27th through the 30th. So you can learn more. The All Black National Convention is where people like the Santishas of the world come together, and the Derek Walkers of the world come together, and we help each other build. We help each other become blacker, better, stronger, and everything else. So go to allblacknationalconvention.com, get your tickets. You're gonna love it, I guarantee it. So let me ask you this, Santisha. I'm curious. I want a consultation. As you know, a lot of y'all might know. I have been on a weight loss journey like you would not believe for the last year.
Good.
I'm so happy. I'm feeling so good. I can't fit none of my clothes. Every time I put on my clothes from a year ago, I look like I'm wearing my daddy's outfits. It's the best feeling. I'm talking about standing in the mirror, stomach is flat. I'm like, I have not seen a flat stomach since college. I've learned so much. And Santisha and I were talking. Let me tell you what we were talking about before. First, we were talking about the salad I just ate. And I said, yeah, every day is salads and smoothies and fruit and all that. I was telling her about how the fruit has saved me. You know, I learned from an article that the best way to avoid temptation is to eliminate temptation. It's not to overcome it. It's to just make sure it's not in your face. So I started keeping all the candy out, and I brought lots of fruit in. And so I tell Alicia, my queen, I tell her, Dr. Alicia, that's what I call her to y'all. But I told her, I said, look, we got to keep the fruit in the house, because if there's no fruit, I will lose my mind and I will start eating anything that is within arm's length, right? So going, and so the first thing she did, let me tell y'all this. So we were talking, and we both happen to have the same water bottle. And there we go, right? So I saw her with the water bottle. I haven't seen anybody else with that water bottle. And she was telling me, she said, you know, you can put lemon in your water, and it's a natural detox. Is that right? Lemon?
Yeah. It naturally detoxes you. Yeah, and it balances your pH. It's vitamin C, so it helps your immune system. It clears your skin. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, so she was, you know, giving me this great advice just from us talking, and that made me think. You know, that made me think, Santisha. What it made me think about is the fact that, you know, it almost seems to me this. Look, here's my theory. I'm gonna give you my conspiracy theory that I in my weight loss journey. I believe that the food and drug industry, or you know, that their goal, the food industry and the drug industry, their goal is pretty much to like kill us. It's to get to suck us dry, get as much money out of us before we get dropped dead, and they just replace us with the next one, on to the next one, on to the next, right? I really feel that way. When I started really researching all the food that I was eating that I did not think was that bad, it was like, nope, can't eat that, can't eat that, can't eat that. This will kill you. This will give you cancer. This is blah, blah. This will make you fat. Look how many calories. And I said, I can't eat anything, right? I mean, it was really like, first thing opened my eyes, I was like, I can't do a diet because I can't go anywhere because I can't eat, right? And then you know, what really helped me though was, first of all, you know, being a 47-year-old black man, I know I'm not a kid anymore. And I started really thinking, you know, I don't enjoy being fat. I don't enjoy, you know, the health risks that, you know, the high blood pressure and all the other things the complications. I see the people in front of me. I see my grandparents and what they've gone through with strokes and heart attacks and diabetes and everything else. And I think being black, you kind of believe it's just supposed to be that way. You know, like that's just what it is. You black, yeah, you're going to have a stroke. You're going to have diabetes. You're going to have kidney failure, cancers, you know what I mean? All of that. And and now I'm starting to believe that that's not the case. That all this stuff that they're telling us we're supposed to eat is not it's not natural. We're not supposed to be doing that. And so I know I'm not even, by the time I get done, you're gonna be so confused. This won't even be a question. This is really a statement, a short, brief, shoebox manifesto I'm giving. But I will leave this into something where I love your expertise on this. So it almost seems to me that what you're doing in terms of encouraging nurses and healthcare professionals to become independent of that system, it's like exactly what the community needs. Like, I know when I was talking to you, I said, you know what? I need to have smart healthcare professionals that I trust, who are not trying to get me on a drug, who are not trying to get necessarily get $1 million out of my pocket right away or give me a surgery, to just tell me what's really going on, so that I know what my best move can be, in my personal life. So what do you think about that? It almost seems like Black people kind of need that. Like, we need thousands and thousands of independent healthcare professionals who can serve as advisors to just say, like, here are some things that you do every day that they're probably going to kill you, but here's some things you can do that'll be, that'll taste just as good, that won't kill you. What do you think?
Yes. No, I think you hit the nail on the head. We need that. As that's something that your Walker Group we bring in professionals to advise on those different things. But as Black people, I want to hit on what you said about your parents and your grandparents. We don't have to have those diseases. We don't have to embrace that. They tell us that it's genetics. It's only because we're eating the same way that our forefathers ate. So yes, there is a separation that needs to take place. And I wish our Black community understood that a little more. I do feel there's an awakening to it, because I see more Black holistic vegans more now than I ever have. So I do believe that the awakening is there. But I think as we continue to educate, that's where we're going to find that true awakening. But yes, what we eat, it does affect our health. I advise if someone is at a place where they're saying, hey, I want to eat healthier, but I don't really know where to start. Or like you were saying, I don't really know who to trust. They may actually be, they may want me to just use this type of product or whatever. Find you someone who is an expert in the field. I'm going to suggest myself. I actually am a certified wellness coach. I have access to resources. I have access to other health and wellness professionals who are Black. My entire team is Black. And we actually come together and we build a plan for you. So find you someone in your local community, do your research. We're out here, social media, fact check, and make sure what they're saying is true. And work with them. Come up with a plan. What is your end goal? They'll do an initial assessment on you, and we'll come up with either diet and exercise, which is kingpin. Have you been exercising, Dr. Boyce? I meant to ask you that as well.
Oh, yeah. Lots of running.
Okay. So, yeah, you're hitting the golden standard. What you eat and physical activity, you can't get around that. When it comes to losing weight, when it comes to coming off of medications, reversing disease, which you can do that. You can reverse disease. When it comes to that, you have to, our Black people, we have to understand that what you eat and exercise, that's going to do it for you. Now, the ancillary things would be sleep, right? Stress management. But exercise is going to help you with quality of sleep, and it's going to help you with stress management. But those are two things that a lot of us want to take all these diet pills. We want to use the waist trainers and do all these cute things. But you have to do the fundamental basics. Our body is a machine. We have to treat it as such and get to work. And then educate yourself on what types of foods. Like you were saying, fruit, vegetable. I'm not going to really talk much about the meat component. There's a huge debate about that. I actually went vegan last year. I loved how I felt in the beginning. There came a time when I actually started having symptoms, and I put myself back on meat. It was healthy meat. It was the healthiest meat, but that's my choice. I'm not going to get into the argument right now. But I do think if you do the research and you educate yourself, you'll be able to make an informed decision. And like you were saying, get with a company you trust. Get with an individual you trust. They may not even be a certified wellness coach. They may be someone who you see, oh my God, you look amazing, you look great. What did you do? Pick their brain and implement it, and then don't skip steps. Literally get your butt up to the gym every day or 3 times a week and eat right. There you go.
Well, you know what? What did it for me, I'm going to tell you, my thing was, it was hard for me to lose weight because I never had a weight problem growing up. I was always an athlete. You know, I was captain of the track team. Did you do what sport did you do?
I did volleyball and track.
Really? Oh my gosh. Yeah, my little girl did volleyball and track in college and all that stuff. But yeah, so I you know, and so as an athlete in high school, especially, you know, you're used to just downing whatever you want and you just run it off and everything's fine. So I thought life was always like that, you know, and then I what happened when in adulthood was I didn't get fat for a big chunk of my adulthood because I played basketball. And then, you know, about 35, you know, I started getting these cramps in my legs for some weird reason. I didn't know where they were coming from. I didn't know what it was. And so I couldn't play basketball anymore. And once I couldn't play basketball, I had no physical activity to burn off what I was eating. But I was still eating like I did, you know, in high school and in college. So I saw every year weight would just come out of nowhere. It was like weight would just, you know, it was like extra fat would just come to my front door, ring the doorbell, and just come and be like, we moving in. I'm attach myself to something, you know, and there was nothing I could do. It felt like it felt like even just thinking about food made me fatter. I did not get it, and so I was like, okay, I got to cut this weight. I'm not used to being the fat guy. You know, I was like, I'm not used to, you know, I was on, I think, you know, we do stuff on the internet. You get all kinds of people. Some people love you. Some people hate you. So I saw one guy who said, oh, boy, you're just the old fat son of a bitch. And I was like, he called me fat. Like, what do you mean, fat? I'm not fat. And then, you know, I did notice, I was like, oh, my God, I am, like, this fat guy. So I was like, okay, I'm going to lose this weight. I'm going to work it off. This is like, I'm talking about 5 years ago, right? I'm like, okay, I'm going to work it off. So I started working out, started running a little bit, not much, but a little bit, riding bikes, you know, stuff like that. It made a little difference, but I wasn't budgeting, you know, and because why? Well, because I'm still eating all that corporate manufactured garbage that has a pound of sugar in every freaking ounce of anything that they feed you. And I didn't know this, right? You know, I just thought, okay, if I eat normal and I'm exercising every other day, I'm going to be fine. The weight was not coming off. It was coming off slightly, but not very much. And I went to, and so then about a little over a year ago, I started running. I was like, okay, now this is definitely got to knock the weight off. I mean, all these miles I'm putting in, blah, blah, so I'm running all the miles. And the difference was happening, and people noticed it, but it didn't make sense. I go to the doctor, and the doctor would say, well, this is how much you weigh. And I was like, I don't weigh that. That's not possible. I weighed that 2 months, I weighed that 80, 100 miles ago. Like, not now. And that's when it was almost like a coming to Jesus moment. You ever see when somebody's at church and they done tried everything and they're like, take me to the king. Like they literally are broken down. Like they feel like they tried everything and they're on their legs. That's when I just said, okay, all right, I'll try anything. I'll try anything. And that's when I truly became open and receptive to the idea of really analyzing what I eat, and counting calories and doing all the stuff that I never ever wanted to do. So now, I got to the point where I do look at the calories on anything I buy. I try to keep it with the fruits and vegetables. And I did a detox. Again, detox was like a cuss word for me. I never wanted to mess with that type of stuff. I did a detox. And it was like I had to cut out the allergy foods, like I think it was grains and corn and what was it, white sugar and all these other things. And I didn't understand. I didn't like it, but I did it reluctantly. And it was tough to get used to at first. But then after about 2 or 3 days, I started getting used to it. And then check this out. So I go and I'm standing on the scale, and the pounds are just popping off. And it's the most amazing feeling to have that first breakthrough. Like, oh my God, I've got it. I've got it. And when you get that excitement, the endorphins are released. You're feeling so good. And now you're like, this is what I want to do. I used to do the fast despite the fact that I want to do something else. Now I do the fast because this is where I want to be. I don't want to be in the ice cream shop. I don't want to be eating all that garbage. I want to keep going. And so I told that story because I know there's a lot of people that are struggling with weight, trying to figure it out like I was. And the answer was simple. When I cut out the white sugar and a couple of other things, it's like it made all the difference in the world. And I still get to enjoy a lot of what I eat. A lot of the food that we eat is still very good food. And I'm super happy about it. It's amazing.
Yeah. So let me hit on a couple things you said. For one, you understood you needed to fuel your body. I think we just see food as like comfort food. Oh, I'm hungry, I'm just going to eat. But when you really think about it, food should be fueling you for what you need to do throughout the day, right? And being that we're business owners, being that we're entrepreneurs, being that we're people on the move, we have to understand what food is to our body, not just look at it as something to enjoy, which we should enjoy. There are good, healthy foods out there. But we have to understand what it's actually doing through our body. And that's the coaching, that's the research. And people can actually, you can research it yourself. The other thing is, let me address weight, because I'm very, very petite, right? I'm 35, mid-30s, can't believe it. But I started having health issues and just chest pains and things like that when I got into my early 30s. And it was a shock to me. Because I, like you, weight was never an issue. I'm like, oh, I can eat whatever I want. I'm not going to gain a pound. And even now, I don't gain weight quickly, but I feel a difference when I eat horrible. And so a lot of people focus on, if you are, well, let me address the BMI scale. I really don't believe the BMI is for the African-American Black community. It is not for us. I'm actually within normal range, but the typical 35-year-old Black woman, we got our curves. And so I don't want us to focus so much on that BMI scale. I want us to just, and weight. Yes, we need to feel healthy. As you get healthy, the weight will fall off like it did for you. But to try to get to a certain size, a lot of people taking shortcuts and doing it the wrong way. So I said that to say, you also have little people like me. Don't think just because you're petite, you can't have health issues. And so it's all about being healthy and living your best life. It's all about feeling great for the purpose you've been put here to do. When you get into entrepreneurship, when you get into doing your thing and just being on the move, you need the energy to sustain you. You need to get a good night rest. You don't need to be up, all times of the night. And so it all comes down to discipline. And like you said, once you reach a certain threshold, you're like, I can do this. I got this, right? It's funny because my husband and I, we're taking boxing classes right now. And I never thought I would be like into boxing. I'm killing it. But I used to hate working out because I never had to. I used to, even though I was an athlete, when I got into college in my 20s, I never went to a gym. And so it was torture for me. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, it's time to go. It's time to go to the gym. It's time 3 days a week. We're not going tonight. Why are we not going? And so it becomes a routine. It becomes a lifestyle. And I think once we educate ourselves on why we're doing it, then we'll understand the benefits it adds to our life. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this, and then I know you have a busy day, and I'll let you go. But I'll tell you, Dr. Alicia, my significant other, she's about to run a marathon, and we were literally talking about that, and I said, how many other Black women who run marathons? And we couldn't think of any. I've never met any. And I know somebody in here. I think they were trying to be negative, but I wondered about that. They said, well, Black women don't exercise, period. I don't think that's true. We know that's not true. But do you think that there, amongst Black people, period, not even just women, though. I know a lot of men who, like when we talk about the marathon, I said, I don't know any Black men who run a marathon either. Do you think that we need to sort of talk about that, the fact that we don't exercise as much as we should?
Definitely. We don't exercise as much as we should. A lot of Black women don't exercise simply because of their hair. And so I love the fact that a lot of Black women are going natural, right? But yeah, that's definitely a topic that needs to be on the table in the Black community, because if we understood what exercise, I'm all about education. So if we understood what exercise does for our bodies, we would do it, right? We complain about the illnesses that we have in our community. We complain about mental illness, which exercise helps mental illness. We complain about so many different things, and not that exercise is the end all be all, but if we would implement a healthier lifestyle, then we would feel better about ourselves, our esteem in general. But yes, Black people, we need to exercise more. We need to get out there. It's actually healthy for your hair. It helps your hair grow, Black women. There's a a bacteria. Sweat actually kills the bacteria on the skin. Ever since I started boxing, my skin has been glowing. And so, you know, Black women, since we're so into our looks, it actually enhances your look when you work out. And we can't be afraid of that. We can't be afraid to sweat. We can't be afraid of, I can talk about the sun all day. We can't be afraid of the sun. The sun is good for us. The sun is vitamin D. And so the more melanin we have in our skin, the more sun we actually need to take in. The fairer the skin, the less amount of sunlight you should be taking into your body. And so, you know, there's so many things that we run from as Black people that we really need to start embracing. And I don't think it's a part of trying to be white or the white culture. It's just healthy for our natural God-given bodies to get out there and eat healthy and exercise, and then decrease that stress. And then it'll help as well with decision making.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. It's huge. I mean, once you get used to it, it's hard to go in the other direction. So, well, I'm really glad you're doing what you do. I think that your business is going to be very successful. I think it's something that a lot of people need. I want everybody to know who I'm speaking with. Please write this down. Write this down. Some of y'all are asking who we're speaking to and who I'm talking to. And her name is Santisha Walker. Santisha, her website is santishawalker.com. That's SANTISHA, santishawalker.com. And she's a co-founder of Walker Group Health and Wellness, and also the CEO of Nurse Brandista. And they do healthcare consulting and all different kinds of things. So if you're looking to get into that area or you need consultation, this would be a place to go. Also, I want to mention to everybody as well before we get out that if you are interested in learning about how to get off the corporate plantation and to create your own business like that, we have a great program that does that very, very well. It's at theblackwealthbootcamp.com. That's theblackwealthbootcamp.com. So feel free to go to theblackwealthbootcamp.com and you can learn more in terms of specific steps that'll help you get where you want to get to. It's not easy, but then again, though, living that same old life that you don't like, that's much, much, much harder. So the question is not, can you afford to make the move? The question is, can you afford to sit still? So thank you, Santisha. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Dr. Boyce. Yeah, it was a pleasure talking to you, sister. And is Derek still around?
He's still here.
Oh, tell Derek I said goodbye. He can peek in if he wants to. It's all good. We family here. Just me and
I know.
Me, you, and about 20,000 other people. That's all.
Yeah, I've been behind the scenes, man. What's up, man? See you next time, man.
Brother, good to see you. Derek was one of our graduates from the 48-hour business school. He's a real smart Black man, and I have a lot of respect for his brother. And now, do you two, if I may ask, do you two have children yet, or is that?
No children. Married 10 years. No children. We actually grew up together. We got a long history together. So.
Wow, like high school sweethearts, that kind of thing, or?
High school friends, but yeah, he circled back around after college and, you know, told me how he felt about me, you know, and went from there.
And the rest was history. It was Black magic after that. Well,
yes.
I love it. Well, he circled back around to the right place, and I'm gonna tell you, I think being married to a Black woman and a nurse at the same time, it's like winning the lotto. So there you go. There you go.
Let's go by the dream.
All right, sis. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure, and everybody, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Make absolutely sure that you make sure you subscribe, share, like, hit the thumbs up button before you go. Subscribe. You got to subscribe. Also, don't forget, if you want to follow all the stuff we put on the YouTube channel, you can get the Dr. Boyce Watkins app on Android or iPhone. You can also follow via text message if you really love us that much. You just text the word voice to 31996. Just text the word voice to 31996 and we'll be connected. So let's all be connected. When we're connected, we're strong. We cannot be defeated. We are the greatest. And this sister's the greatest too. So you guys take care. Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.